All right. Good evening, West Ham fans across the globe. Wally, I'm not sure why I'm doing this tonight, mate. That was a terrible, terrible result that we had earlier on today.
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
even
rough
want to
one.
talk about West Ham after this, but we have to because it's Friday night, and that means Friday Night Likes, your show here on the American Hammers Network, where these guys will be competing for likes. I'm going to ask them some questions that are West Ham related, and they will be duking it out to see who has the best answers for the questions at hand. But before we get into the questions, we'll go around and let's see who you are, where you are, and how do we reach you on social media, and what are you drinking? Wally, I have to start with you. What kind of concoction do you have tonight, my friend?
I'm just drinking some Woodford Reserve bourbon to soothe the pain of that heartbreaking loss we just experienced. And I'm from Philadelphia, Philadelphia Hammers, you can see here. And that's my skill. I'm your scorekeeper.
Wally is a scorekeeper. He is impartial and Woodford Reserve. Well done, Wally. I've got to say
Yes.
that's a nice drop. I'm going to kick
Yeah.
you into the back room. See you later. Kostya, we know where you are. It says DCing your title, but how do we
Yeah.
reach you? What are you drinking, and what's going on, man?
I'm not drinking right this second. I had 4 Stella Artois at the Fado pub where we meet, Fado DC, in Chinatown. I was actually only one of 2 DC irons there, but it's very understandable. We have many members still coming back from England, and it's a Friday. Most people can't get off of work, but I snuck out of work just a little bit early just to make it and to watch us lose due to VAR. And I also had a bourbon. I'm not sure what kind of bourbon mixed with some ginger ale at the restaurant with my lady just now. And I'm representing the DC Irons. Yeah, I'm obviously in Washington.
Obviously, good stuff.
And
And
sorry, social media is my first name, Kostya, and I have AHTV right after it on Twitter. That's it.
beautiful. Long time viewer, first time caller, perhaps? I don't know. Gabe, how are you, man?
I'm good. I'm Gabe. Second time caller. Second time in, actually.
Nice
From the
to
great
know.
state of Texas. Um, that's pretty much it, you know. I'm drinking some sparkling water because I'm 15, so
Are you a
Gabe.
Dallas Hammer?
no, I'm not. I'm in Austin.
Oh, okay, got you.
Even better, even better. Don't let Wayne and that lot get into your head.
Best
Well,
best city in
congratulations, Gabe.
Texas.
Thank you for coming and joining us tonight. Gabe obviously is in the chat room almost every show, and we'd love to get his opinions. So it's going to be interesting to get him live tonight. Dino, who are you? Where are you? How do we reach you? What are you drinking?
Hello, my name is Dean. I'm drinking a cheeky red stripe. I don't know why. I just felt very Jamaican today, so I thought I'd go for a red stripe. I am from East London originally, but at the moment I'm living in Tampa. So I'm part of the Tampa Hammers. So you can find us on Tampa Hammers on Facebook. And yeah, I'm just Dean. You can find me on any kind of social media if you want at Dean J. Crawford. I don't think I'm that interesting to follow, but give it a go if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, why not? You can at least report on the weather being a little bit warmer. Andrew.
Exactly.
What's going on? Just coming at you from the New Orleans area. My Twitter, I put it in there just to make it easy for y'all. I tweet about just a little bit of everything. Being from New Orleans area, Saints fan, that's a big thing for me. And every once in a while, I'll do something about West Ham. And just forgive me about the politics. That's kind of something I worked in for a little bit. But being born tonight, just finish it up what I had with my dinner. Just a little bit of a high quality H2O.
It's all right, man. Everybody's got to hydrate on a Friday night, so nothing wrong with that. I am John, your host. You can see my Twitter handle there. Drinking a Council Estate King Oranje Boom. Good stuff. And with that, we will get straight into the questions. I did write these before the game tonight, and I had a bit of a premonition that it may not have gone as well as it actually did, because it didn't go too great either. But so it's probably for the best that we stick away from questions about the match. I'm sure there's plenty of other shows that will be dealing with that anyway. We had one earlier with Tommy and Chris. So with that, why don't we talk about the other major issues that are going on around the club at the minute? And the first one is probably the transfer window, really. That's open. Is wide open. It will be slamming shut, of course, as they all say on TalkSport pretty soon. But what do you guys make out? And maybe before I wrote this, we didn't have another goalkeeper injury like we do after this game. But why are we bringing Randolph back? You think it's a good idea? Is it a bad idea? What's the point? Kostya, you're signaling already. Let's come to you first. What do you think?
Yeah, it's all about the money, baby. Middlesbrough still owe us money for Randolph and for Ashley Fletcher. So although in the media it's going to say £4 million, it's really free. And that's why we're signing him over Neil Etheridge or someone of that caliber, Begovic. It's because it's free. And it's ridiculous because he's going to be injured for another, 2, 3, 4, maybe a month, 2, 3 weeks. And it doesn't really help us with the situation we're in right now. But he's free, and that's why he's coming.
Our owners do like to buy free. Great. Gabe, what do you think?
I think it's a good signing, but we've seen how fragile the position is even today, with the mistake and Fabianski getting injured. But I do have a concern. Why are we signing these backups if our first teamer is injured and probably out for a while? I think it might be smart to invest in a first team keeper. A top choice.
Yeah, we could certainly use the backup at the minute, it looks like. Andrew?
So something to, put in perspective here, we've had Fabianski with a hip, thigh type of thing going on. We had David Martin with just about the same injury. And we're going for part 3 with Randolph with the exact same injury. So I don't know if we're being flirtatious with that injury or if it's just bad luck here or what it is, the intentions of that. If you were to heal right and be able to be a safe pick for us, then yeah, sure, good signing. But right now, not making a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, that if word is a big word, and it's probably a big word for both of our existing goalkeepers in the minute as well. Dino?
The first thing I want to say about this signing is that I think the chairman did well in backing us in the summer. They gave us a lot of money to spend, but I don't think they spent it in the right places. I feel like they shouldn't have let Randolph go in the first place. I feel like letting Adrian go in the first time was the wrong move to make. So the fact we're buying him back screams of the owners about 2-3 years ago. Like DC Iron says, it's a cheap buy rather than letting the director of football buy someone that's kind of exotic and someone we don't know. We're going for something that we do know and something that's easy. I feel like it's an easy buy. I feel like it's a safe buy. But after today's game, I feel like we do need him. We need a number 1 goalkeeper. So I wouldn't necessarily want Randolph as my number 1 choice this transfer window, but I think he's a good buy to get us through until Fabianski gets back. When he gets fit, it's a comedy of errors, but we need another goalkeeper.
So let me do a follow-up question to you all. Everyone give me a yes or no answer. I'm not going to give any likes away on this one, but Randolph coming in obviously signifies that David Martin is going to drop back into 3rd place. Do you think David Martin's done enough to be our 2nd place goalkeeper? Kostya will go and then just go around the order that we did before. Yes or no?
Compared to Roberto, yes, but I think Darren Randolph, when fit, is a better keeper than Martin.
Gabe?
So I put Martin 3rd.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think he's done enough to secure himself, but in this current roster that we have right now, he has.
Andrew?
Yeah, I would like to say he's done enough, but we haven't seen enough. Even today, he didn't get a whole lot of touches on the ball. Not enough.
Dino?
I feel like Martin could live off that Chelsea game for another 3 or 4 years, to be honest. But I still don't feel like he is good enough to be a backup keeper for West Ham. So we do need another backup keeper for sure.
I do wonder if the answers would have been different at about 2:30 today instead of.
They could well have been that pass. Yeah, Balbuena, Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, part of me thinks I'd like to at least see him given a bit more of a shot, and maybe he'll get one if we sign an injured goalkeeper as a 2nd one anyway. So carrying on with the transfer window, you guys all know the names that have been out there. There's some exciting names. Was it Gabagol? There's Fernandez. But let's talk about what's more likely to happen. So if you all had to pick between Joe Allen or Fellaini coming into West Ham, who would you choose and why? Andrew, let's start with you.
So, oh gosh, I think Fellaini's just some banner, man. I just think Sky Sports is pulling one on us there. I really don't think we're interested in him. I don't want to give too much credit to it, but he's old. And yeah, he can help out in a pinch. He can be clutch. But if I'm going to be real with you here, we need people with work rate. We need people that are going to be able to take the criticism from Moyes. Be able to take a kick in the ass and get going. And Fellaini's just not a guy that's going to do that. So, and I'm not going to lie to you about Joe Allen. I don't watch much Championship or Stoke City at all, really. So I guess de facto, Joe Allen.
Dino.
I feel like if this conversation happened about 2-3 years ago, it would have been a very tough conversation to have. But I feel like Joe Allen now is very much past his prime. I mean, we can get Joe Allen in. He's very good on the ball. He can pass it very well. He's solid in the midfield. But who is he going to replace? Is he going to replace Mark Noble? I can't see that. Is he going to replace Fornals? I feel like we should give him more of a chance. So Fellaini, that's where he comes in. Fellaini can play centre half. Fellaini can play centre midfield. Fellaini can play centre forward. I feel like he can do several different jobs. He knows Moyes inside and out. Moyes can probably get the best out of him. So I feel like if I had to pick one of the two, I would go for Fellaini all day long, even though he's in China at the moment. I'm probably sure his game has gone down a peg or two, but I know Moyes could probably get the best out of him. So I'd pick Fellaini all day long.
That Fellaini can play centre anything is what I'm taking away from your point there.
He can play in the middle of anything you draw, anything you like. That's Fellaini, centre down the line. So I'll take Fellaini over lightweight Joe Allen.
Gabe.
Yeah, I think Joe Allen is definitely who I prefer because he's a younger player, and if we go up, I mean, the owners say we're going up as a club, but why are we signing Fellaini? I feel like it's just kind of a cop out for Moyes, and I think Fellaini will take up a little bit more than Joe Allen on the wage bill, considering the fact that he went to China, which probably was for money. You know what I mean?
So are you saying that we're signing Joe Allen is signifying we're going up, though?
Not necessarily, but I think it looks better signing Joe Allen than Fellaini.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. Costia.
Fellaini is not a credible link at all. The ITKs who are typically reliable are calling it lazy journalism, and I agree. The next thing you're going to hear is that we're going to be linked to Phil Jagielka and Steven Pienaar and Seamus Coleman. They just have a connection to Moyes. It's a stupid concept. The guy is on $220,000 a week. So even if we ask the Chinese to subsidize half of that, are we going to pay $110,000 a week for an aging midfielder who's on his retirement? That's what China is. Don't sign players from China. And I'll take Joe Allen in tandem with another serious investment like Fernandes. But Joe Allen on his own is unacceptable. That's not next level. That's not what we moved to the London Stadium for. And on his own, I would be deeply unsatisfied. But he is United Kingdom steel. He understands what the Premier League's about. He's played on multiple levels. Successful Premier League team, less successful Premier League team, championship. So I'd take him on the bench, but if he's our only midfield signing, I'll be really disappointed. Fellaini, absolutely not, and I don't believe that rumor.
Yeah, I don't
Nothing's
think
been next level, though, is it? With our chairman, nothing has been next level apart from moving up 10 steps for your seat, I think.
Might be the next level below. Yeah, I don't think anybody really wants any of those, either of those two. I tend to agree as well. That seems like lazy journalism, don't it? You're going to get the clicks. If you put Fellaini, Moyes, and West Ham in the same sentence, people are going to click on that and get angry. So, Joe Allen, I don't want him. I don't want him. Like you guys were saying, another 30-year-old on the wage books to compete with Noble, who's over 30 for that position. Just doesn't seem like the right thing to do. But speaking of some of our younger prospects, so on the way out, right? Let's talk about players on the way out of West Ham potentially. There were reports Chelsea, there were reports Tottenham were interested as well after Diop. I think there was one coming out about Chelsea. It was talking 40 million for Diop. So should we sell Diop? Should we cash in now? Is he at his peak where we could get good money for him, and could we reinvest somewhere else? What do you think, Gabe?
No, I definitely don't think that. I mean, we saw today, 3 at the back. He's going to be needed more than ever. We were playing Cresswell at center back. I don't think that's a long-term thing. I mean, we saw that in Moyes' previous term. The guy's really young, too. I think we could, if we really were set on selling him, we could definitely get some more money for him. And I really don't want us to sell him just because I think the board won't buy a like-for-like replacement. I think they'll buy someone off the cheap and try to improve multiple positions.
Dino, you're agreeing?
Yeah, I do agree with everything you said there. I feel like if we sell him, the replacement won't be half as good. It will be someone. Well, we've been linked to Joe Allen and Marouane Fellaini. It's going to be someone of like in the later stages of their career to come in. I feel like Diop is he's at an exceptional age. I feel like he's only got his best to come. And I feel like 40 million for a defender, if you go by the Virgil van Dijk signing, is kind of cheap. And Diop has, I mean, at the moment, Ogbonna is playing really well. Balbuena, I'm not so sure about. So I want to keep Diop. I want him to play really well. But I feel like if we're going to sell him, it's got to be for at least 50 mil. I mean, because these are ridiculous prices being thrown around, right? So you're going to pay 40 million for Diop. He's only been at West Ham for a year and a half. Get the most you can out of him. But I want to keep him because he's in a great age. He's in his prime is yet to come. And I think he's a good player for West Ham.
Kostya.
I think David Moyes' first mistake is not starting Issa Diop today against Sheffield United when you're playing three at the back. And I think it was obvious when Balbuena made that stupid mistake that Diop would have been better there. I think Issa Diop, just like Declan Rice, they're Amazon stocks 10 years ago. Selling them is stupid. You need to be patient. You need to wait. If you're going to sell them when they're 25, 26, and they're worth £100 million. Don't sell them when they're still eligible for the youth squad. I would absolutely not sell Issa Diop. I'm not sure I believe those rumors. I think that they're part of the rumor mill, and it's an easy link because I think Manchester United were seriously considering bidding 50 million, and so it's easy to put two and two together. It's always easy to associate West Ham as a selling club, and again, lazy journalism. I'm sure Chelsea and Tottenham would be delighted to sign him, but I'm not sure they're actually going to call the club and make a formal bid. But no, I'm definitely not selling that guy. He's our most promising center back, and he should be the spine of our team with Rice, Fornals, and Haller for several years to come.
Andrew, you're selling him, ain't you, Andrew? Everybody else keeping him. You selling him?
Selling him, so it's what, 40 mil plus Conte, right?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No, well, let's look at the bullpen here. So the bullpen in the center back in the center back position, we got Reed. It's not happening. It's not happening. We have Balbuena, who needs a reliable partner, and we have Ogbonna, who's in great form. But before he hit his run of form, everyone was saying he was getting on, and that we needed to move him on. And I that's the only reason why Diop's not in is because Ogbonna is absolutely destroying it right now. You don't rest a player that's in form. So honestly, unless we get something that's crazy like a 40 million with Conte, tell Chelsea to fuck off. That's the end of the story.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in fact, I'll go one further than that, Andrew. If you're not going to go and get somebody who's 60 million, don't replace a 40 million pound player with a 40 million pound player. You're just staying in place. So it doesn't make sense to me to get rid of him, and I think everybody's right on board. Wally, I'm going to bring you back in. Let's see how we're doing on the scores.
Wally.
Hey, all right, I'm back. We've got Gabe at 4, Andrew at 4, Dean with 5, and Kostya in the lead with 6.
Kostya.
Look at that. Everybody in the chat room, we're going to come to you later in the chat room, and whoever thinks, we're going to take a vote on who they think's winning, and your votes will count players today. Wally, see you later. We're going to cut him out so abruptly every time. Sorry, Wally. We're going to get into the real thick questions now and really serious stuff. I used to live in DC, so Kostya, I'm not sure you can even answer this question, really, but
Sure.
What is the most underrated pizza topping and why? Gabe, I'm coming to you, Gabe. I feel like Texas has got to be a minefield for pizza, but you're young. It's part of the weekend diet of kids your age, I'm sure. What are you going for? What's your topping?
All right, so I went for a bit of a controversial one. I think Canadian bacon gets a bad rap because it's associated with pineapples, and so people just love to hate pineapples.
You're saying pineapples?
No, I'm just saying it's associated with pineapples, which is why it gets a bad rap.
Okay.
Canadian bacon, it just tastes good,
Gabe, you got to explain Canadian bacon to our UK viewers. What is Canadian bacon as opposed to regular bacon?
So it's pretty much just ham, but I don't even know the difference, honestly. It just tastes good.
It's just round, isn't it? Isn't it round bacon?
Yeah, but Canadian.
For everybody in
Sorry
the
all the
UK,
time.
it's Canadian, slathered in maple syrup, round, and it has cocaine on it. Costia.
Fresh basil leaves are not appreciated enough on pizza. I think that they can heighten any pizza. If you're someone who is out of their mind and likes pineapple on pizza, basil actually accents the pineapple very well. You can put pineapple on a regular cheese pizza with the classic marinara sauce, and it will accent that pizza. It's no margarita pizza without basil leaves on it. And I think too many people aren't educated to the essence of basil and how important it is to a pizza. And the best marinara sauces have basil in them as well. So I think that's underrated.
Costia, a question just for likes in my mind.
Sure.
What's the best pizzeria in DC?
There is no best pizzeria in DC. The best pizza is in New York, and there's really no such thing as good pizza in DC.
That
We
is
have
correct answer.
we have a restaurant scene that's very. The New York Times gave us the #1 place to visit out of 52 places this year, and I was shocked because yes, we have restaurants. We don't have Italian food, and we definitely don't have pizza over here at all.
It is a great food
Right.
city. If anybody gets to DC, it's a fantastic food city. Terrible pizza. Apart from
Yes.
like if you go for like the very boutiquey kind of pizza, right? I mean, the high end $20 for a single slice kind of Pizza Paradiso is good, but I go there for the beer. But I'm not going to
Yeah.
drag everybody into this conversation. Dino,
Well, I've been to DC, and do you know what I didn't see on pizza? I didn't see pineapple. So do you know what, Costia? I'm going to say pineapple on pizza is the best topping, or the most underrated topping you can have out there. It's like summer. It's like a taste of summer in your mouth. You feel like you're in Ibiza. You feel like you're in Spain. You feel like, oh, you're one of the Florida beaches down there. Oh, my God. I can't get enough of it. Pizza and Canadian bacon as well.
Oh,
On a pizza is some of the best toppings you can ever get. So, yeah, I'm going for that. And I'll
Good
see you in
stuff.
DC, and I'll buy you one, and I'll challenge you on that.
All right, as long as it's got basil on it, it's fine.
No basil, no basil. I don't need to get any more likes.
Aren't you supposed to say basil? Isn't it basil in England?
is
We call
very
it
much
basil.
bad.
Sorry, basil. No,
No, I didn't
basil.
hear you.
No. Sorry,
We've got
mate.
Jack
No.
in the chat room here. Pineapple on pizza makes me sick.
Oh,
Yeah,
cheers, Jack.
good for you,
Oh,
Jack.
okay.
No likes from Jack. Andrew, what are you going with?
No likes for me here either. Jack, I gotta disagree with you in the comments there because I'm on Team Gabe and Team Dino here because mine I was gonna say was Canadian bacon, and that's because it goes absolutely wonderful with pineapple on a pizza. You can't beat.
Andrew.
It's just I don't care what anyone says. Like I don't pay attention to your Twitter arguments about it. Pineapple and Canadian bacon's in. It's here to stay.
Listen, thumbs up for all the Canadian bacon and pineapple lovers. There seems to be an overwhelming majority on our show tonight. For me, I will say the most underrated topping is no topping whatsoever. Plain pizza is the future, people. You don't need toppings, and you cannot rank one pizza against another when you go from one shop to the next unless you're eating plains and seeing what the original tastes like. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm staying. I'm a plain guy. Anyway, next, let's talk ownership. I think everybody here loves our owners, right? We're all on board. GSB in. And there were a few rumors there a few years back talking about Red Bull coming in with an offer to take the team off of their hands. Would you take it? What do you think the benefits of having somebody like Red Bull come in would be for West Ham United? Dino, I'll start with you.
I think that's a tricky one. If you'd have asked me like a year and a half ago, I would have said, yep, I'll take Red Bull every day because the owners aren't invested in the way they should do. But they got him Pellegrini. They gave him carte blanche pretty much. He spent 40 million on Haller. He spent 40 million on Anderson. So they have kind of spent the money that we've been asking them to spend. But I just don't believe in our owners. I don't believe in the 10 years or so they've been there. I don't trust them. I don't like them. If someone like Red Bull with the brand recognition they've got, and the influence they have in the world sporting stage, if they came in and said, yeah, we'll take you over and you have to be West Ham, I would take them all day long. I really would. Yeah, I just feel like I don't like our owners. It's just hard to say. I'm sorry to like kind of just pinpoint it down because they have done what we wanted them to do in the last year. But no, if someone came in with a big money bid, I'd say see you later. Thanks for your time. But I don't think they'll leave because they're taking too much money in for what they're putting in. They're taking too much out. So, but I would definitely take another investment in a heartbeat for sure.
Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the board. I mean, that's just no secret. The way they manage the club and like the transfers, and it's. I'm sorry for what Mark Noble said. It's not a circus. It is. It's a circus, and that's how they're running it. But I think we have to be kind of tactful in the way we move forward with owners. Red Bull has done quite a bit in every single club that they've taken on, but you kind of have to be careful because. With the branding, I'm sure we're going to talk about that soon, but the branding, that's one thing. We can't lose the identity. We can't become too sanitized. And that's something I'm afraid of with someone like Red Bull, just completely remodeling the club to make it completely unrecognizable anymore.
Kostya.
Look, I would take Bashar al-Assad over our ownership group. He might put, mustard gas in the away end, but at least he'd spend some fucking money.
That's all right for the Spurs match.
Yeah, right. I was on American Hammers TV a week ago, and I spoke favorably of David Gold, and I can't totally blame him. He's the minority investor. I don't think he makes that many decisions, and I think he's getting on in age, and so I can't really associate too much blame with David Gold. But if you ask any DC Irons, they'll tell you one of my favorite songs is "Sack the Board, Sack the Board, Sack the Board." In fact, I get teased about it. So we need new ownership, and if it's Red Bull, if they want to put a Red Bull logo on the kit, frankly, it looks better than Betway. And we've already changed this. Even though I'm wearing it, this is not the crest. The crest has castles on it, and it doesn't say London down here. And they've tried to rebrand us. We're next to the freaking Westfield shopping mall. They've tried to sanitize us. I never forget the scene from Iron Man, the documentary that's essentially, club-based propaganda. There's a clip where David Gold tells a mom and pop shop owner of a pie stand that we're going to bring you with us. That didn't happen. Our stewards from Upton Park didn't come with us. So I think of all the jobs, all of the money that has gone down the drain. When I was in London, the Bull Inn Tavern was advertising their last ever New Year's Eve party. And I was just heartbroken to see that, knowing that an iconic tavern that's been in business for 50, 60 years is going to have to close because of this move. And if you're a billionaire and you're going to relocate a major business like a football club, your responsibility is to bring along the low income, the middle class businesses that are all around the area. And we haven't done that at all. We've done it on the cheap. We've tried to rebrand the club and all of it's wrong. I know the spirit is still there, but as Paul Colburn says, there's like 10 to 20,000 regular Upton Park Hammers who are watching from home, who aren't as invested, who aren't coming to the stadium. And it's egregious, really. And it's a shame. And I look forward to 2023 when supposedly the tax is lifted and the sale of the club is, I don't care if it's Red Bull, an American consortium, a sheik from the Middle East, as long as it's not a sex shop owner.
You are anybody in.
It wasn't the same.
Anybody in. Sorry, what's that, Dino? Go on.
No, I was saying I went to the last season at Upton Park. Like my last game there was against Southampton. Then I went to the first season at the London Stadium when I managed to get back. I went against Spurs. We beat them 1-0 with Andy Carroll scoring the winner. So it was a great night out. But there was just something missing about the whole day. So like Kostya saying, like there's been a whole ripped out of it. So it's not the same, and something needs to change. So I would take anyone that kind of appreciates the history and wants to change it and wants to do something good with West Ham for sure.
I was quite positive on the move, to be honest, because I thought, part of it would be big club, big stadium, things like that. And I went to a game after the move and everything, and everything changed. Your rituals changed. My dad's rituals changed. We didn't go to Nathan's Iron Match. You didn't go into the tube station and walk down Green Street. So I don't know. That doesn't look like progress, but maybe Champions League football, like they discussed, would look like progress. But we're not at that kind of at that Graceland yet. But Gabe, I haven't heard from you yet. Where are you on this?
Yeah, I think it's certainly interesting. We'd be part of like a group of 5 clubs or whatever in Red Bull, in the whole Red Bull company. But I just think this makes us more corporate, the club itself, and brings us farther from our roots. Even though we're far away from our roots right now, we'll probably have to rebrand the whole badge and everything, maybe even the colors. So I just don't see this as a good move. It rips the soul out of our club, which you could argue has already been done, but it just does it more and more.
So I know a couple of you touched on it already. It was a question that I've added as kind of an addendum to the first one, and that was, what about if we have to change our name and change our brand? Because I assume some people that may be crossing the line, but where do you stand on that? I know we've kind of mentioned it already. Kostya, you mentioned it, so I'll let you get a second stab first. If we had to change our name, our brand, our badge, our colors, are you still pro Red Bull?
Look, when I see how Red Bull has developed as a company from being an energy and just a simple energy drink, really, and they're a massive, massive brand. They're sold everywhere. I don't think they'd make us change to red, white, and blue. I don't think they would make us call ourselves Red Bull West Ham. I think they would name the stadium the Red Bull London Stadium. I think we'd have Red Bull on our kits. However, I think that they would have more respect for our history and our brand than our current owners do, frankly. I think our current owners see us as a marketing opportunity, a profit opportunity, and that's why we've got this badge now. That's why it says London here. And I think that many hardcore supporters who are older than I, who have been going to Bullen Ground for a long time, feel that that's already happened. So is Red Bull going to make it worse? I don't think so. I think Red Bull's a professional, internationally run organization. I think that they can put Red Bull in front of a club like Salzburg, because no disrespect to Salzburgians, I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but West Ham is a bigger club than Red Bull Salzburg, and it has a bigger image. And Red Bull Salzburg has been raised to the profile that they have now by Red Bull. So Red Bull doesn't need to do that for West Ham. I think they change a few things, but I don't think it would be any worse than what's happened now. And at least we would be run professionally. And we'd see a lot more youth coming through, a lot more intelligent signings. We'd have our actual scouting network. And so I would expect good things. They're not necessarily my number one option. Obviously, I'd rather a billionaire who's not going to rebrand too many things. But I would certainly take Red Bull over Brady and Sullivan.
Gabe?
I think they would definitely be crossing the line if we were to change the badge. And I think our current owners got away with it under telling us that it's going to be, a new club. When we're going to make Champions League, it's going to be so much more attractive if we change our badge to, London on it. And in hindsight, everyone thinks, well, we know now that it was a terrible idea. So I think if the supporters see that happening again, I think having been through that before previously, we'll be totally against it.
Andrew?
So yeah, I can't see it feasible for Red Bull to come in and not want to completely rebrand us. They've done it everywhere they've gone. I understand we're a bigger club, but if we're a bigger club, then why invest in us? We should be able to attract like an Abramovich. We should be able to attract like an oil giant from the Middle East. I think Red Bull, although they make the prospect of like a lot of youth development and all these different things is nice and all, but they're just promises. And we saw with the last owners, let's move to the London Stadium. It'll be Champions League football. You can't really bank on all those type of promises. And I don't think Red Bull's the right move here. Out of all the owners, I'd pretty much X Red Bull out the first, and try to find somebody that could be more in touch with West Ham's culture.
That'd be nice. Dino.
I'm with Kostia. I believe that if they came in and if they rebranded the stadium, made it the Red Bull Stadium, I've got no problem with that whatsoever. If they wanted to put Red Bull signs in the front, in the back, upside, everyone, I've got no problem with that whatsoever. The only problem I would have is as if they tried to change the name. We've changed so much in the last 4 years that going from one stadium to the other, we kind of lost a part of our identity. The badge changed so much. I don't mind. The London thing obviously isn't kind of ideal. It's not what we used to be, but this badge was on our kind of kits about 60 years ago, so I don't mind that too much. But what I would mind is if they tried to change the name from West Ham United to anything else. The reason I support West Ham United is because I was born 10 minutes down the road. The reason other people support West Ham United is because they love the club, they love what it stands for. West Ham is a meaning to certain people. Like, you know, you can't change West Ham. So if they wanted to make it Red Bull West Ham or West Ham United Red Bull, do you know what? I'll turn down the money. But if they wanted to make us West Ham United sponsored by Red Bull, then no problem whatsoever. That's how I feel about Red Bull coming in, because I would prefer different owners. I don't like the owners we got. Like I said before, they've tried and they've given us the cash in the last year or so, but I just don't want them in the club. You know, one wrong doesn't make it right, in my opinion. So, yeah, I'll take anyone else if they want to come in. Sure.
Gabe, earmuffs. I am dildos over drinks, I got to tell you. There's no way I'm letting somebody come in and rebrand us as RB West Ham or whatever else. I think Costi makes a good point. Dino, you echoed it. If they came in, rebrand the stadium, that's perfectly fine. You know, inanimate objects, right? But stay away from the core of who we are. I think what I prefer is somebody that had multiple billions to play with. And I don't know if they do, honestly, because they're still a corporation. They still have to make profits, and they're probably more profit-driven than somebody that's just using us as a bit of a play toy, like Abramovich is. But who knows? We'll see what happens. We did have one question in the chat room, and people in the chat room now, please go and vote. Just type the name of the person that you think won, and Wally will get those scores together. And I assume everybody watched the game tonight, so I'm just going to ask a quick question about not really VAR, but the handball, right? So what do you make of any kind of handball immediately rules a goal out? Is that good? Is it bad? I know we're reacting from the game today, but try and be impartial about all these kind of handballs. Does it make sense to have that rule? Does it make sense to change all handballs to an immediate foul, or should there be some kind of consistency? Andrew, I'll start with you, and everybody in the chat room, again, please go vote who you think won, and we'll give them 2 extra likes. Andrew.
When it comes to like rules, laws, regulations, or anything like of that sort, like intent, like is the first thing that matters, really. Did you intend to do X thing? Declan Rice didn't mean to take his whole elbow and smack the ball down so he can get a perfect touch on it. I mean, it didn't even look. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't something that he tried to do. I mean, the guy just headed the ball and it hit his arm. It was completely inadvertent, and he wasn't even the one that put the ball in the goal. So honestly, like, I think intent has to matter here. I think if it leads directly to a goal, not just like an assist or like something like that, you know, it really shouldn't count. I think it should be taken on a case-by-case basis. And just this hard and fast rule really does stop the run of play. It destroys the limbs. It's just absolutely kills every vibe. And like to see like banner on Twitter from Sheffield United fans, you know, talking about, you know, VAR and all that shit. Like, no, you should win on your own merit, not because of a technicality. Like, honestly, grow up.
Gabe.
Yeah, I mean, this game really hurt just because of how, you know, in we were with the game. We were riding it until the end, you know. I do think the handball rule is pretty criminal. I think it's going to be changed next year, and it really needs to. But
why do you think they'll change it?
I mean, there's been complaints from everywhere about this rule, and even its consistency when it comes to VAR. You know, some things are being played, some aren't. And everyone's calling for it to be gone, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Costia.
At the very beginning of this season, very beginning, I was optimistic about VAR because I've seen so many different times when we have been screwed out of even European League places. I'll never forget when was it Willian fell for Chelsea a whole meter outside of the box and was given a penalty anyway during the Payet season, which easily could have seen us finish in 4th instead of 7th. And that happened multiple times that year. In the FA Cup against Manchester United, we were screwed out of that game, even though Payet hit one of the most beautiful free kicks I've ever seen. So I started the season as an American, where instant replay seems to help more often than it doesn't. In other sports, I said, oh, okay, now when West Ham gets screwed, we're going to see the replay, and a 4th referee is going to go, oh, no. That can't go against West Ham. And I've actually been keeping track of the differential, and we are up by 1. So we've had one more VAR call go for us than against us. But that doesn't change the fact that as a fan now, when my team scores, and I don't care what team I support, I'm not all the way committed to that goal. I have this little anxiety in the back of my head going, oh, it was there. Maybe there was offside.
Are you telling me you didn't celebrate Snodgrass's goal today?
No,
with all the passion in the world?
I did.
Lost it.
And then, but you know what? It like broke my heart when that call happened. And it just made me sick to my stomach because I'm 30 years old. And for 29 years, my understanding has been that a handball has to be intentional. And the video could not make it any more obvious that I don't know what player that was. I don't know Sheffield United starting lineup because fuck them. But the guy puts the ball onto his hand, and then you're gonna take away that goal. Like it makes absolutely no kind of sense. And the fact that they changed the rule to say that any kind of handball is going to be called back doesn't make sense. That's not how football's been played for hundreds of years. And you can't just arbitrarily make that change, especially when you're trying to introduce VAR. So both of those things happening together is even more egregious. And VAR has to be scrapped. And if they take a poll on Twitter, I know fans of all teams would 90% agree because it doesn't make sense. And I'd rather go back to the old-fashioned way of refs screwing us because they're biased against us than having this VAR nonsense. It's really atrocious. And
love.
Go on and on.
Guys in the chat room, remember to vote. Who's winning? They'll get 2 extra likes. Dino, round us out, fella.
Okay, so I believe that VAR was introduced for 2 specific reasons. The first one was Frank Lampard's goal against Germany in the World Cup. That was a goal but wasn't given. Then also there was the handball of Thierry Henry against Ireland in the playoffs when they got in. So they're really looking at those kind of fouls. But it seems to me like, so VAR is for clear and obvious errors, right? That I don't agree with the handball rule whatsoever at all, because like Kostia said, you can't tell me that Rice did an obvious and clear an error in the handball. It just was the way the play was going on. So for them to go back, how do you change it though? Do you say then, well, within like the final third, within the goal box, if there's a handball, then it can change? Like what if someone handballs it in their own box? And then the play, like Barcelona, they hand it in their own box and they carry on playing and then score a goal. I think that VAR in the World Cup, I felt like it was okay. I felt like seemed like it was the future. It was doing well. But in the Premier League, it's not working whatsoever. It seems there's been more problems than there has been solutions to the goal. So I vote for get rid of VAR. I would like to keep it if it can kind of work. I would like it if they get rid of the handball rule. I want it to be so it's just so if a goal is a goal or not a goal, or if there's been, certain fouls and whatnot. But it seems like they can't go that way and it's going to be extra kind of play. But we'll see. But I don't want VAR at the moment. I don't like it. I don't rate it. Sorry.
I think it's got to. Let me bring Wally back. He can give the final
Wally.
score in a second, but it's got to go back to schoolyard rules, right? I mean, is it ball to hand or hand to ball? I mean, anywhere else on the pitch that happens to Rice today, it's not even a whistle. It's not even a whistle. It makes no sense to me how that's been ruled off just because a defender has bumped into him, causing the ball to hit his hand, and he's played on. I mean, anywhere else, literally anywhere else, even on the other end of the pitch, that's not a penalty to them if that happens in the box and Rice handles it there.
Yeah.
So it just, I think you all make great points. It makes no sense to me. It's not consistent, and they've got to do something because what are we on now? We're on handball number 3. That's cost us a goal. Anyway, Wally, what do you think, Wally, first of all, and then give us the scores?
Well, what I think is anchovies are the most underrated addition to pizza.
People love anchovies in America. What are you talking about?
Oh, I love them. They're great on pizza.
Michelangelo would hate you.
Anyway, so yeah, so the chat room first of all went to Kostya, so he gets the extra 2 likes.
Kostya.
So here we go. We got Gabe with 9 likes, Andrew with 11, Dean with 11, and Kostya running away because I think, John, you really like DC with 17 likes.
Gee.
17.
17, yes. Wow.
I take back everything I said about Kostya. I don't agree with any point he made at all tonight.
Kostya was very passionate tonight, and you'll get to prove that passion now. I will kick everybody into the back room. I'll see you all back in the green room. And Kostya, it is your time to shine. Please go on a rant or anything that you want to talk about. Address the Hammers Nation throughout the world. Floor is yours.
Sure. Let's see. I didn't prepare this, but I was at London Stadium for Leicester, which was disappointing, and for Bournemouth, which was uplifting. I went to the Boleyn for the last 2 matches of 2015. So I saw Southampton and I saw Liverpool. And so I got to experience both stadiums. And when I went to the London Stadium, I had very low expectations because I'm on Knees Up Mother Brown fairly regularly. And so I feel like a lot of people go on that forum to vent their frustrations, and you have a lot of really true old school Hammers, and that's something I really appreciate. And I almost, I come up with opinions on my own, but I feel like I tap into them, and, because of how much I read from them, my expectations of the London Stadium were very, very low. And because of that, I was actually pretty happy with the stadium. The atmosphere is not the Bowling Ground at all. It's almost as if people have been separated during the migration. And so the singing comes in smaller pockets. And occasionally the whole stadium will sing, but it doesn't have the same kind of energy that the Bowling Ground does. However, I went to Arsenal-Chelsea, which you would think is an insane derby match. And I can tell you that even though it's a proper football stadium, the Emirates was a library still, in comparison to the London Stadium. So yes, the London Stadium's not quite as loud as the Boleyn. I think that's a lot to do with people sitting in new places, and there's a lot of day trippers, fair weather fans. But I wasn't nearly as disappointed as I was thinking I would be. You can kind of see the scaffolding, but they've mostly covered it up with tarp. The food was not nearly as awful as I thought I'd be. I didn't have to wait as long for beer as I did at the Boleyn. Actually, the Boleyn was I was in line for like 10 minutes before I got my 2 Carlsbergs. Whereas the London Stadium, there's more options, so you get your beer quite quickly. And it is a massive stadium, and it has a lot of potential. So under this ownership, not so optimistic, but I do think that a proper owner who's a real billionaire, and who could take over the stadium and get rid of the athletics track, could make it a proper football stadium. I see a lot of potential, so I wasn't as disappointed as I thought I would be. And I just want to be optimistic about that. That yes, we've moved from the Bull Inn, and it feels like we've lost our home. And stadium migrations take a long time, and they're not always successful. But based on all the negativity and all the bad things I heard, actually being there for 2 matches, when I look back to my experience at the Bull Inn, it's not the same. But I don't think it's as nearly as bad as some of the whiners will make you believe. And we have a chance to really make it a fortress with a few more years and some little improvements here and there.
A message of hope for everybody. The English are a bunch of whining bastards, is what
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
No, I got you, fella. I got you.
It's pretty much what you said. It's pretty much.
Keep the faith, everyone. Keep the faith. Give it a couple of years and maybe a winning season here and there, and it will feel a lot better around the place. So we do like to concentrate on the negative as West Ham fans, because there's generally a good amount of it around.
I do agree with Costia, though. I will say that my first game at the London Stadium was at Spurs at home, and we beat them 1-0. And it was one of the best games I've been to at West Ham. I'm not say we were singing from Stratford all the way to the ground, but I'm sure if you went to Man City at home and we lost 6-0, you wouldn't have had the same opinion. So I know what he's saying. There is good times to be had at that stadium for sure.
Yeah, I'm only ribbing him. And I think what he's saying too is American Hammers, don't let some of the online reports deter you from going. Get over there, have a good time, and you'll be welcomed with open arms. And with that, I just want to thank everybody that came on the show tonight. Costia, Wally, as always, although I expect a little bit of a different drink from you next week, Wally. You normally have something very strange every week. Dino, Andrew, Gabe, thank you all so much. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. Rich, Tim, we got the West Ham is why we drink boys for Sheezy's in there, Jack, everybody commenting. Really appreciate people showing up. Tommy is in there as well. Please hit the retweet and the like button. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button here. We're now over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and want to keep growing that so that we can bring our own brand of West Ham optimism on Friday Night Lights to the rest of the West Ham fan base. God knows we need it. Anyway, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time, and make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Come on, you Irons.
All right.
Cheers,
Irons.
Cheers, boys.